Hey guys, Brian Grossman here with Get Outdoors South with a quick video about the 5 pieces of gear that you need to start saddle hunting. Now I know if you're just now getting into it and maybe you've looked around on some of the saddle hunting forums or some of the saddle hunting Facebook groups, man, it can get really confusing really quick about what equipment you need and what you don't need to get started. I know that was one of the biggest hurdles for me when I started looking into saddle hunting. But the fact is, again, it just boils down to 5 key pieces of equipment, and we're going to look at those right here. And then once I've kind of talked about them, well, I will actually take these outside. I'll get set up in the tree, and you can see how all these kind of work in conjunction with one another, because it's a whole lot easier to see them in action than for me to sit here and try to explain exactly what each one of them does in a basement setting here. But real quick, the first key piece of equipment you're going to need, of course, is your saddle. This is the tethered Phantom. There's a lot of different options out there. I recommend you try as many of them as you can before you pull the trigger on one. But basically, this thing is just a rock climbing harness with a seat sewn into it. I've heard it referred to as a cross between a rock climbing harness and a hammock. But yeah, you got a seat sewn into it, kind of a place to support your butt. There's basically three different types of saddles that you're going to run into when you start doing some research. This is what's known as a single panel saddle, the tethered Phantom, because as you can see, it's just got one panel here that supports your butt. There's also 2 panel saddles, which again, as the name implies, you have 2 separate panels that kind of pivot on the sides. That allows you a little more flexibility in where you place those. You know, most guys are going to put one of those panels kind of cupping under their butt. The other one's going to be up higher, maybe at the top of their butt or even up on their back. But again, it gives you a little more flexibility. Some guys find the 2 panel saddles a little more comfortable. Personally, I prefer the single panel saddle, but again, it's going to be a matter of personal preference. But either way, you're going to need a saddle. Oh, third type, I don't want to forget, this is probably my next saddle. The third type is kind of a hybrid between the single panel and the 2 panel, and it's called a pleated single panel. And again, pretty self-explanatory. It's 1 panel, but it has a pleat in the middle that allows you to expand it out to kind of get more of a feel of a 2 panel. So you can really expand it out to where it covers your entire butt up onto your back, and or you can condense it and just have it more like the standard single panel. Just more flexibility there to stay comfortable. Tethered's just coming out with one the summer of 2023. They're supposed to have their tethered lockdown available. That's a pleated single panel. Cruiser has one. I think Latitude and a lot of the other saddle hunting companies out there. I don't know all the models off the top of my head, but you'll need a saddle of some sort. The second and third thing you're going to need are your ropes. You're going to need 2 ropes. You're going to need a lineman's rope. You're going to use that when you're climbing the tree, when you're hanging your steps, just like you would if you was hanging a lock-on stand, or even when you're in a climber. That lineman's rope is what keeps you secure during the climbing process. Once you're up to hunting height, then you're going to use your tether rope and tie into it. And again, we'll see how all this works together here in a minute. They're pretty similar in appearance, but you definitely want one of each. Otherwise, there's going to be a point in time between when you climb the tree and when you get tied in that you're not going to be secured to the tree. So make sure you want to have a lineman's rope and a dedicated tether. Your fourth item, you're going to need a way to climb the tree, obviously. And so you're going to need some type of climbing stick. These are the tethered ones. These are awesome stick. They're super lightweight, very easy to tie or strap around the tree with these ropes, but they are extremely expensive. So depending on your budget, you may want to look at some other options, but there's tons and tons of climbing sticks out there on the market, and any of them will get the job done. You're really paying for the weight, you know, how light they are. You're going to pay more, as well as the way you secure them to the tree. The easier and the quicker you can secure them to the tree, typically the more you're going to pay for the climbing stick. But these actually have aiders on them that help you get a little more height out of each stick. I'm not going to get into that right now, but you're going to need some way to climb the tree. And then once you climb the tree and you're up to hunting height, you're going to need a place to kind of rest your feet. And that's where one of these commercial platforms come in. This is a tethered Predator. Again, there's tons and tons of these on the market, so you really just have to choose the one that best suits your needs. But they're basically just kind of like a little little miniature hang-on tree stand. I don't have the strap here with me, but it straps around the tree, locks in place. You can adjust the angle of this with this adjustment bolt right here. But this is just where you rest your feet as you're hanging there in the tree from your saddle. And again, we'll look at how all this comes together here in just a minute when we head outside. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's all you need to get started. There's tons and tons of accessories. I'm gonna do another video kind of covering some of the accessories you might want once you get started. But to really get started, my cat's gonna join in on us here. Thanks, Finn. You're gonna need a saddle. You're gonna need a platform. You're gonna need some climbing sticks to climb the tree. And you're most definitely gonna need a lineman's rope and a tether rope. And that's it. That's all you need to get started. Now we're gonna head outside and take a look at how all this works together. All right, guys, well, I'm up in the tree now. I'm gonna show you how this kind of all works together. Obviously I got my saddle on. I got my stick down here, my climbing stick. I'm only a few feet off the ground for this demonstration, but I got my climbing stick. My feet, of course, are resting on my platform here. And I'm using my lineman's belt at this point. That's what I'm gonna use when I'm climbing, when I'm hanging my sticks, when I'm hanging my platform, as I'm climbing the tree. I have some adjustment with this ropeman where I can change that, or if I wanna bring myself closer, that's what the ropeman's for. Obviously you don't wanna let it slack out when there's tension, but once I get up to hunting height, so I'm here, I got my platform set, I'm on my platform. I'm gonna put my tether around the tree and it just loops back through itself. Again, I got a ropeman here that I can adjust to the height I need. But I'm gonna hook that into the bridge rope of my saddle and then adjust that where it needs to be. And once that's done, then the lineman's belt can come off. So at this point, my tether's now holding me. I would typically put this in my pack or in my side pouches, the lineman's rope when I'm not using it, but for now I'll just clip it off to the side here. But now I have my tether here holding me in place. My feet again are resting on the platform and I'm ready to hunt now. I'd have my stuff hanging and everything, which I'll demonstrate some of those accessories in a later video. But that's it. Yeah, you can adjust how far you want to lean back with that ropeman, and of course you'd want to close that carabiner when you're up to hunting height because you don't want that coming open and somehow falling out. But that's it, guys. That's how everything works together. And again, only 5 pieces of hunting gear, or 5 pieces of gear you need to start saddle hunting. You need your saddle, you need your tether, you need your lineman's rope, a platform, and some climbing sticks. Once you have those, you're ready to go and give this crazy type of hunting a try. Hey, be sure to hit that subscribe button, please, the little notification bell, so you'll never miss another one of our Get Outdoors South videos.